QA-Craft allows us to manage automated test runs. As it was presented in the previous presentation, our structure is divided into test plans, test suite, and test cases. We manage automated test runs at the test plan level. Below the QA-Craft Reports tab, there is a dedicated QA-Craft Automation Test Runs tab. In this tab we have a table with the history of our runs. It also contains the results of a given test run along with a link to the logs.
Razem z linkiem można podejrzeć sobie tutaj, klikając details, jaki był wynik ostatniego runu.
The link to the logs is a place that can be connected via the path where the logs are to be saved.
Podpiąć przez ścieżkę miejsce, w którym według nas, w naszym systemie gromadzimy logi.
In our case, it is WebDev or the path to Jenkins. These parameters are set by the QA-Craft API from the level of automated tests. Until this test passes, we will not have the link here. The QA-Craft Automation Test Runs tab has a pull-down menu. The next menu is Test Runs Templates, where we can set our own predefined sets of our test cases to run. The last tab is Test Automations Parameters, where we set the address to which the test launch request is to be sent. In this case, we are using Jenkins Continuous Integration Server, but here you can set any environment as you like. Now I will show you how to turn on a sample run. So we click Create Run. Any command can be entered at the top in summary, but it is not a required field. In the linked issue, you can enter the issue key to which the test report is to be connected. This field is also not required. Here we have a choice whether we want to perform our run test immediately or perform it on a date chosen by us in the future with the execution date, or it can be added as a draft. It will be visible in the table, but it will not be executed.
Będziemy go widzieć w naszej tabelce tutaj na podglądzie. Możemy go, zróbmy taki pusty.
We can return to such a raw test run by editing and choose further actions related to it. Click Update to Run. We can save such a run test as template. It is possible from there. Each of the test cases in a given test run and those that can be performed have a special field that determines that it is an automation test. This field is test case type and is switchable. We can choose between manual or automation. Switching to the manual view changes the view to the same as it was in previous presentations, which saved steps. As we can see on this display, If we switch a given test case, which was manual, but an automation test was created for it, and when switching back to automation, we do not lose the data contained in the manual test, but we get a different view with a preview of the selected file, with steps or custom content of our file.
Wybranego w tym miejscu, gdzie jest selected file pole, z wybranego z krokami lub zawartością wybranego przez nas pliku.
We use Cucumber, so in our case, these are feature files. There is no problem to select any file that appears in this window below.
Po prostu dowolny plik, który pojawi się w tym okienku niżej, w podglądzie.
Selected file content is sent in JSON with parameters that run automation tests.
W JSONie w parametrze uruchamiającym testy automatyczne.
Let's go back to what was set here.
Do tego, co to było ustawione.
We can see that here this has been changed. Let's choose our first two test cases and try to run them.
Pierwsze test case'y i spróbujmy je odpalić.
We can see that the status in the table has changed. We have the option to stop it. Let's move on to Jenkins and see what the execution looks like.
Zobaczmy, jak to nam tu będzie się wykonywało.
We can preview the details all the time. In this window, we will see the changes of our two running test cases. The first one was launched. We should get information on the API, because all communication between Jenkins and QACraft is via API.
Bo cała komunikacja między Jenkinsem, testami automatycznymi a QACraftem odbywa się przez API.
Through the API, we have the option of changing these statuses and subsequent test cases. You can change the status of the test runs here. Finally, we have the option of adding log links wherever we keep logs in our test environment.
Możliwość dodania linku do logów, tam gdzie w naszym środowisku testowym trzymamy sobie logi.
It could be WebDAV, it could be Jenkins, or another place of our choice.
Jest to po prostu link, który otworzy się w nowym oknie.
We can check our status again in QACraft, and we can see that both test cases have been failed. Here we have a button to refresh the table. QACraft has not yet received information about the end of the test run, only about two test cases. We got links to log that we can view from this level.
Informacje o linkach do logów, możemy sobie je tutaj z tego poziomu podejrzeć.
It should be alright here. This run test was successful.
Ten test run zakończył się sukcesem.
We have a preview of a given run and its progress. Now I will show the possibility of creating a new template.
Odpalenia, właściwie utworzenia nowej templatki. Zrobimy sobie nową od początku templatkę.
Let's call it my template. We will select the test cases that we want to add so that they can be run. We will create a test plan and provide its summary.
Damy mu jakieś summary. Spróbujemy się podlinkować.
We will try to link to some entity. Anything from the list we have in our database. We choose the status to run immediately. We will not rewrite a specific date here. we choose right now, we will choose which template we want to use.
Templatki chcemy skorzystać.
We choose, we have immediately selected. If we had several hundred or several thousand here, when choosing our template, we have it marked immediately.
Mamy to już od razu zaznaczone.
Click Create Run and wait.
I czekamy.
Our tests are nearing there and in the Jenkins. We have result from each test case like before.
Case'a, tak jak poprzednio.
We are just waiting for the information from Jenkins. I think it just came. We'll have links to the logs in the details. As you can see, you can preview them. As we have seen in the previous production, we can run from automated test run from the test plan. In the first example, I would like to show tests that run from QA-Craft. Working from the Jenkins level and performed automated tests with Selenium WebDriver in the browser. In QA-Craft we have possibility of executing automation tests. Our example tests will be handled in Jenkins using Selenium WebDriver in the Google Chrome browser. The second Jira instance with the QA-Craft installed will be tested. We choose a new run test. We choose to run immediately. We select test cases that interest us. Click Create Run, which will run the test. At Jenkins we see our tests starting to run.
Że nasze testy się w tym momencie zaczynają wykonywać.
Our test environment is placed in Docker containers and we run the entire environment from the Docker Compose environment. All definitions are contained in the YAML file. Only for the purposes of presentations we placed our Selenium grid on a separate virtual machine, so that we could physically present the operation of these tests in the browser for demo purposes. As you can see in Docker, there are containers needed for our environment. Now we can preview on the machine running Selenium grid how our tests are performed in the browser. After Jira tests are completed, QA-Craft will receive information about the test results, which will be visible in the Details tab.
O wynikach testów, która będzie widoczna w zakładce Details.
And at the end we will get a link to the logs, where you can view the exact test results.
Gdzie będzie można sobie podejrzeć akurat my mamy tutaj uruchomiony WebDAV, będzie można sobie podejrzeć dokładne wyniki testów.
In this folder on WebDAV we collect all artifacts related to a given test case run, such as any PDF documents, any additional screenshots or information about the results of our tests.
Screenshoty czy informacje mówiące o wyniku naszych testów.